What's up, y'all? In today's video, we're going to look at how to use anxiety to your advantage in communication. I'm Timothy, I'm a communication coach, and let's dive right in. First, when we think about anxiety, it often is associated in our mind to be something that is negative. In this video, we're going to look at how anxiety actually is similar to positive emotions that we like and how we can use that reframing of what it actually is to our advantage. When we think about anxiety, what if instead of fighting it, we could welcome it? Dr. McGonigal, who is a Stanford communication professor, teaches us to welcome it as a signal that we actually care about the situation. Anxiety occurs before important moments, which means that it's there to indicate that we actually care about something. If you think about it, did you ever have anxiety when you were about to do something that you had little to zero interest in? The first step is try and think about reframing the feeling, and that's what the focus of this video is going to be on. Let's dive into the science of the sensation of anxiety, and let's see if we can kind of demystify what the emotion and feeling actually is to see if maybe it's not as scary as we thought. Understand that anxiety is a chemical cocktail that produces a mixture of adrenaline, endorphins, and dopamine in the body. The interesting thing is it's a chemical mixture that's actually identical to that which is produced during periods of exciting and positive experiences. And that's kind of crazy to think about. Your mindset, whenever you're feeling these emotions, whether that's anxiety or something positive, all depends on your mindset and what you have trained yourself to focus on when you're experiencing those emotions. So when you're feeling anxiety, are you focusing on trying to fight it, or are you focusing on trying to welcome it? When we think about anxiety in a conversation, there are often some pitfalls that we can avoid to shore up our communication so that anxiety is less of a worry. The first is when you are communicating something in a language that you're familiar with, especially if you're in academia or if you are in a very niche field, then you'll be used to using very complex language or language that includes a lot of jargon. So the first step to avoid is abstraction overload. Don't do it. The second communication pitfall is having a lack of concrete examples. Part of the reason that we can get anxiety in a conversation or a speech is that we don't know if we're going to do a good job at conveying our message to the people that are listening. If you have concrete examples in everything that you're teaching or saying, then that's going to be one step further that you'll make it in someone's mind for the information to actually land with what you're saying. Failing to provide tangible, relatable examples makes it difficult for listeners to grasp the concept. Lastly, don't emphasize your expertise too much. Usually people know that you're qualified and you're up on stage or you're talking about a subject because you care about it and you've actually took the time to learn about it. If you emphasize your degrees or your certifications too much, it can actually have the opposite effect of convincing people that you know what you're talking about because they think that you're mentioning those things so often because you actually are not confident in your ability to teach it or your ability to communicate it to an audience. Let's look at some examples of bad communication and good communication. We're going to look at simplification, and then we're going to look at a few other examples using some other themes. In this before example, let's read it. We're investigating the longitudinal implications of technological interfaces on human emotional response patterns. I genuinely have no idea what that means, and it sounds like something I would read in a science textbook when I was growing up in school. Let's look at the after example. We're studying how people feel about using dating apps over time. Wow. Think about how clearly and how simplified the after version is compared to the before. Let's look at another example. Our research focuses on the optimization of agricultural resource allocation. No idea what that means. We're helping farmers decide when to water their crops. That's amazing. As we're making our way through these examples, I can't help but think of this quote. I think it was from Albert Einstein, but I'm not sure. He said that if you can't explain something to a kindergartner, then your level of understanding of that concept may not be as deep and sound as you think. The reason for that is because the language that a kindergartner speaks in is so simple that if you can't communicate your idea or concept to them in a way that they'll understand, then that means you don't know it well enough to be able to break it down to that level. Let's look at another example. We're exploring the socioeconomic impacts of urban mobility transitions. Still no idea what that means. After. We're studying how bike sharing programs change city life. Wow, that's so much easier. As we're thinking about pitfalls to avoid, examples of good communication and bad communication, something that we always have to keep as our North Star is what the true purpose of communication is. It's to help people spark thoughts, aim to make the people that are listening to you, whether it's a conversation or a speech, think and form their own connections in their head with everything that they know. It's to generate questions, encourage your audience to wonder about implications and ask questions, relate experiences, help your audience connect your content to their own experiences. Now, let's redefine what success in communication actually looks like. We're gonna look at the old way, and then we're gonna look at the new way. The old way is having information overload, preventing questions, racing through content, and proving your expertise too much. The new way is engaging your audience, encouraging curiosity, allowing reflection, and facilitating understanding. Earlier, we spoke about Dr. McGonigal, who is a professor at Stanford in communication, and she talks about the 3 phases of communication, whether it's someone you're listening to or someone that is listening to you. The first phase is the phase of wonder. And this is showing curiosity by demonstrating your genuine interest in the subject matter, sharing your fascination, express what captivates you about the topic as well. Drive engagement, use your questions to spark curiosity in your audience. And if you think about it, these 3 subpoints all create this phase of wonder in not only yourself, but the people that you're talking to. Let's look at the second phase. The phase of creative fire. This is personally my favorite. Show passion. Let your enthusiasm for the subject shine through. Share motivation. Explain why the topic matters to you personally. And inspire others. Allow your passion to ignite interest in your audience. For the last phase, it's called rule magnificence. Share wisdom. Offer insights gained from your unique experience. Speak truth. Address difficult topics with honesty and compassion. And lastly, be authentic. Present your genuine self, including your vulnerabilities. With everything that we just reviewed, whether it was reframing what anxiety is, whether it was communication pitfalls to avoid so that you're less prone to anxiety when you're communicating a message, the old way and new way of communication success, or the 3 phases of communicating. Each of these aspects are pillars which you can use to become a good communicator. Just working on one of them isn't gonna make you the next Abraham Lincoln or Martin Luther King. But if you can work on all of them bit by bit and take your time in improving, then before you know it, you'll be this incredible speaker that you might not even recognize. That's the end of this video, and if you liked it, please comment or subscribe. And if you have any questions, please let me know down in the comments down below. Thank you.